Yo, 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 yo. Testing one, two. Testing one, two. What it do, loved ones? We are back now with another episode of the Respectfully Great podcast, which is number 36. Let's give yourself a round of applause. Yeah. Mhm. Yes, yes. First and foremost, before we do anything, I love to always do a wellness check. So, for all my loved ones out there, whenever you come across this, I want you to give a wellness check. Check in with yourself. Make sure that you are feeling appropriately. If you are disturbed in any way, we have ways and solutions we can get up out of that funk. And I just want you to be aware of just your feelings and your emotions. You know what we can do? I remember I used to do this with one of my coaches and my teachers, Coach Bren. When we get on and we start a segment or a session, the first thing we do, we take about a good 10 to 20 seconds just in silence and deep breathing. And it kind of centers ourselves. So ultimately, this is what I want to do as of right now in real time. We're going to take 20 seconds. You can count silently in your head and then we be able to proceed because I think this one is very, very important as we get more in tune with who we are, what we stand for, and coming into the holidays and making sure that we have a peace of mind, that our spirit is in a right place and we are aligned. So I want to take a quick 20 seconds out before we get started to just deep breaths in silence. Close your eyes, a little bit meditative state. We're gonna do that really quick. All right, starting now. Powerful. Wow, man. Whew. I feel like a weight that was just lifted off my shoulders. Man, I can't explain how I feel. I hope you feeling well as well. Let me know how you feel about those quick, deep breaths and a quick meditative state that you just endured for the first 20 seconds or so. How do you feel? You could put your responses in the chat. You can keep it to yourself. I know how I feel. I feel great. I feel relieved. I feel like uh, just just a peace of mind. I feel peace right now, and it's great. I think it ties into what we're going to talk about today, which is depression. Um, how to heal. Oh, TikTok action. See, caught up in being in tune with oneself. You got to get this TikTok rocking. So let's lock into this TikTok action because we have to go on that site as well. So shout out to everybody else that's on the other platforms, which is YouTube, StreamYard, Facebook, Instagram, and all those other great, great platforms that we're on as of right now. And now we about to tap in with TikTok as well. Okay. My man doing this thing on there. Let's go right here. We're going live. Let's set this thing up, hoist it up. Hey, listen, can you do me a favor and put that thing up there like that? Angle it for your boy. And then good to go. Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. So let's see what we got going on some of these little platforms. Young Tim Buck, what's up, loved one? What's good, God? Big love in the building. We are here. We are tapped in, feeling good spiritually. Yes, we are great, 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 great. That angle is cool. You can see, turn this over a little bit more this way. Yeah. Bring it closer and angle this way like this. More towards more of the yeah. I think that's cool. Yeah, that's great. That works. Going live. Shout out to my TikTokers. Three, two, one. Yeah. Yeah, we live on TikTok as well. Slim, what's up, loved one? Slim in the building. What's good, family? So, so now the topic of today is called how to heal from hiding. How to heal without hiding. How to heal without hiding. That's the correct uh title. How to heal without hiding. What do I mean by that? Today's segment, we're talking about depression. There are many phases, many stages, many things, many signs, many people that are suffering at this day and age with depression. And we really want to highlight that at this very moment because it made me think about so many things that I've seen during the course of the week. So I always take my interactions of what I see, what I hear, the conversations that I have. I love to highlight these things because it put me in deep states of thought. And I actually start to ponder about these things, but also how do I problem solve? So I start to think about these things and say, man, if I were in that position, what would I do? Since I'm not in that position, how can I help? What does the healing process look like? Is it possible to heal? Who can help me or aid me to heal? Is it work that needs to be done solely by myself? What environments am I occupying that feed or distort my healing process? Who am I associating with that adds or take away from my healing? What vices or what things that am I doing or that I'm doing that enable or actually entice me to keep going with this depressive with this depression or depressive state. What are the things that are keeping me in that space? So I think about these things and it makes me think about um how we got here today. I remember not but almost I think might have been a year from now. When I used to do the Instagram lives as part of the podcast, we officially made that a 36 episode on YouTube. But prior to that, I've done maybe I would say a good close to 50 episodes on Instagram. Same situation, just did it on the platform of Instagram solely. And there, I remember we talked about a segment about holiday healing and it made me think about this as of right now. And also, I came across a video that I saw that made me think about, man, how distorted our minds can be during these times of the years, or this time of the year, and how much things that we undergo through our day in and day out when life is just be life and we have to be able to manage in all facets. We got to be able to keep our heads above water. We have to be proactive individuals. We got to be there when it's holiday time to support our children, family, friends. It's supposed to be a festive type of environment. And although this is what the energy in society breeds at this very moment, people want to go spend money, do all these type of things. But what if you are broke, not financially? What if you broke in spirit? How are you supposed to indulge and be able to enjoy some of the festive things that are going on at this present time? What if this is very, very hard for you because you were closely connected with someone, family member, friend, whoever, and they no longer here to enjoy those same moments with you. So there was a sense of loss. What about at this time of the year you have went through something traumatic and this moment actually rekindles that thought, that feeling, that emotion. And now we in a space to where we kind of conflicted because we know we're surrounded with some things that we can be appreciative of, but we're not really finding that peace within oneself. Tone, what's up, loved one? We're not finding that peace within self. And I think that it's a conflicting thing that goes on in our minds. I came actually across um a lady by the name of what's her name? Thelma Bryant, right? And she had said this terminology, what struck me, super, super by surprise. And she said the terminology, which is called psychological homelessness. Psychological homelessness. What it means simply is being disconnected from self. And I was like, hold up, I need to hear more. I need to hear more. And it put me in a state of understanding, okay, well, Johnny, where are you in this day and age? How are you going through life? Are you looking at life from um, optimistic perspective, or are you looking at it from a pessimistic perspective? Meaning that optimistic, meaning that you are hopeful. The cup is half full. We looking at it as the bright side. You know, there are things over here that we can just be super proud and appreciative of. Although we have some other needs and wants and things that we want to bring into our lives, but when we able to look at life from a perspective of just being appreciative of these things, you're looking at it from an optimistic of a hopeful perspective. But if you're looking at it from another perspective, which is being pessimistic, and you're looking at the cup as half empty, how does how does that feed your spirit? How are you supposed to go out in the real world and navigate? How are you supposed to go out there and function when you dealing with the inside woes and you dealing with the inside trauma? You dealing with the inside loneliness. You dealing with the psychological homelessness. Life starts to, life and get tough. Okay, what's up, dude? What's up, loved one? Now, what do we do? When I started to look at these things over the course of the week and in the course of my life, I'm like, how many times have I been in a depressive state where my energy felt fatigued? I didn't care to worry about my aesthetic or my appearance. Maybe hygiene. You didn't want to go to the barber get groomed. You don't want to go out to a gathering with family, loved ones, and friends for a night out. You want to feel pretty much isolated. You don't want to feel, you don't want to be around people. Where does that come from? Or you feel like, maybe my self-worth isn't there. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough to be around, or I shouldn't have some of the fruits of my labor. I shouldn't be, you know, as gifted to have this roof, clothing, and shelter. And I see people outside, you know, going through life in that aspect. Maybe I should be sitting on a corner or living in the subway or something like that, because I feel like nobody cares about me. But more importantly, I really don't care about myself at the moment. So these are some of the things that made me think about when Thelma used that terminology: psychological homelessness, feeling disconnected from self. What was another question when she said that terminology? First, I said, well, how can somebody be disconnected from self if they don't know self? It made me think. We go through this life, right? And we go on our journey, and we constantly trying to figure out who we are, what we are, and be purpose driven individuals, and figuring out, well, what's the meaning to my life? Why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? What purpose does it serve? Because it seems like what I do doesn't affect nobody else. You feel like, you know what, you're not important enough to have an impact on other people. So you feel like, well, maybe I go through my day, nobody cares, nobody sees me. We live in an environment, definitely up here in New York, where people just walk past every day. It seems like nobody pays nobody attention, although they do. But it seems like everybody's just going to and from, and whoever's in their way, they're gonna tumble over you or walk right through you, and they don't see you, like as if you were like a piece of glass or a mirror or something. Like you look very transparent to them. You feel me? Um, so it makes me think about where we are in our own lives. How do we go through life feeling like, I just feel I'm at a low, and I can't figure out how to get out of this, or do I know what that looks like? Because sometimes we may go through life thinking everything is okay, and we can be functional depressive individuals. Wait, what's up, sis? Let me say that one more time. Sometimes we can build up a level of psychology around ourselves to make ourselves feel like we okay. And only thing that we doing is just being functional, depressive individuals. Meaning that I got some things really disturbing me, but I'm acting as if nothing is bothering me. And we think That is the method in order to get our healing, to overcome, to go through, and to come out of. We feel like that is the solution to our problems because most people don't really want to hear it. Functioning depressed here. Absolutely, sis. Functioning depressed here. So that's a comment for my sis, Quay. Absolutely, family. I know there are various times in my life where I was going through the motions, and I know I was at some of my low, but I couldn't show I was at a low, mainly because of the environment that I occupied. I was in a space where um, the only focus is on doing time, and I couldn't have the time to really unwind and put myself in a space to think about, what what do I do? I'm really low. I don't want to talk. I can't tell everybody my business. What do I do? Elizabeth says, you get so used to being in that state, you start to believe that nothing is wrong. Absolutely. You get so used to being in that state, you start to believe that nothing is wrong. We are creatures of habit, meaning that we can disguise some of the things that we do. We can go through the motions and we can act, we can put on a good act. We can go through life. We can go and do things as if there's no care in the world. And we build up a routine and a habit. And before you know it, we pretty good at faking the funk. We get good at faking the funk, meaning that there's some things that's disturbing and I could fake the funk. Copper, what's up, loved one? I love you, my brother. You know I'm always here with you, bro. You know I'm always here with you. You know that. You just become numb. Absolutely, sis. You just become numb. And I think we able to disguise it so well. We are direct our attention and our energy in some places where we can hide behind some vices, right? I know one way I used to drown my some of my depression was picking up a cup, sipping, right? We like, well, it's supposed to be a pleasurable experience, supposed to just, enjoy yourself. But when you start to isolate and drink in silence and no one else around, it's not a festive environment. And you say, no, I just had a long day, but I need this drink right now. I gotta go and pick up this cup, or I gotta go smoke, or I gotta go take a bump, or I gotta go, whatever it is, whatever it may be, whatever your vice is. If you start to drown yourself to escape, those are some of the signs that we are depressed. If we're looking for a way out and we start to do things to deter our minds from what's really going on in the moment, that's a sign of depression. Many of us have gone through some of these stages and we were so good at being imposters, charlatans from ourselves. We so good at faking the funk that to everybody else from the outside looking in, like, oh man, he or she is living their life and don't understand that we are drowning inside. We are pain filled. We are hurting. We are actually crying out for help. And the simple question of, well, how you doing today? I'm good. Smile on her face. He or she face. And then it comes back. Well, 2 minutes later, you start to see, yeah, I'm good. But I had thoughts of causing harm to myself or someone else. Wait, 2 minutes ago, you just said that you were good. But now you have thoughts of harming yourself or someone else. You're depressed. I got exposed to a video earlier, right? Let me tell you how life got ways of creeping up no matter what age you are. Depression got ways of creeping up. Psychological warfare going on in your mind. Let me show you how it creeps up. And no one is really exempt from it if you don't protect yourself with certain things. So I'm watching this video, right? And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna post it up tomorrow. on my feed so I can sit back and we just watch the video. But I'm gonna tell you about it now. So there was this young boy. I say give him around maybe 6 years old, seven maybe. So there was somebody that was talking to him, had him on camera in the school environment, see other kids run around, etc. So this lady's talking to this young kid, maybe 6 years old, and she said, "Well, what's up with you, such and such? How you doing?" He said, "I'm good." And he said something out of his mouth. He's like, um, uh, I wanna kill everybody." What? Unalive, right? Because they censor a lot of stuff on the tube. So he says, "Yeah, I have thoughts that I want to go out there and I want to unalive everybody. The only people that I don't want to unalive is my family." And the lady's like, "Well, I'm your teacher. You want to unalive me as well?" He said, "Well, you're my teacher, so I won't want to unalive you, but everybody else, I want to unalive. I've seen it. It looks cool. I dream about this. I've seen this." She's like, "Well, where do you get these thoughts from?" He said, "Well, ever since um I see my brother watching this television show and they were unaliving people, that's what I want to do." He was excited about this. And I'm saying to myself, whoa, we have a problem here. We have a serious, serious problem here. We understand and we know that a child's brain is not fully developed until about the ages of 21, etc. Right? So if the kid is 6 years old with an undeveloped brain, he is watching some of these things on television, and now he has an affinity of wanting to go out there and pursue unaliving people as if it's a pleasurable experience. Somewhere along his mind, somewhere along his thinking, um, he has a sense of connection with wanting to take someone's life. The gaudiness, the blood, the gruesomeness, all of these things are playing factors, but he's infatuated with it. So I'm saying to myself, how in the world nobody sees this? Where are the parents? Where are the guardians? Where are the school system? Where is the community? This kid is openly talking about doing these type of acts and feel like a sense of adrenaline. I'm watching as he speak about it, and he's saying, "When I get older, this is what I want to do. I want to do the whole world if I can." And I'm like, we are breeding some individual, a young kid, to go out there and lose his life or get his life taken, because it happened either way. But he making it a life mission to want to go out there and harm people. Psychological warfare. How do we get there? The things that we speak about, the things that we watch, the things that we read are the people that we are influenced by. All of these things are factors into how we process and how we navigate in this world. This is where depression is attached to. It's attached to thoughts and the psychology behind some of these things that are disruptive. It's attached to some of these things that are disruptive. And for that little boy, in his mind, it seems like the norm. Scary. It seems like the norm. It seems as if he can go into the world and commit these acts and there won't be consequences for his actions. But why is he so infatuated with it? Who is around him that allow him to embellish in his thought process and feel a sense of reward? Who co-signed this? Nobody opposed of that thought. Nobody challenged. Say, well, do you know what happens if someone, by the hands of yourself, if someone is unalived because of the act that you done? Do you know what happens to you? I don't think that conversation was had with him. Why are we surrounding ourselves in environments and around people that has this disruptive mindset? And we actually are infatuated with it. I heard something from Thelma Bryan again. This was what she said exactly. Somewhere along the lines of she said that every day we every day we go to bed with the trauma, not the trauma. She said, I can't quote it verbatim, but long story short, she was saying that when we watch some of these shows, these um uh uh uh, uh these unaliving shows where sitting in
Describing about trauma, childhood, like anything dealing with trauma, how we're so accustomed to it and used to it that we watch shows like that to go to sleep and
ah
it doesn't hit us.
so she's saying that great. So she what Thelma Bryan was saying is that we so accustomed to watching these things, feeding our psyche with these things, is that we go to bed with it every night. So we turn on these shows just to go to bed. Think about that. We turn on high crime shows to go to bed. We go and watch stalkers X, Y, and Z. We go to bed with that. We go to bed with um unaliving mass amounts of people. We go to bed with that. What happens when we go into bed every day with trauma? What happens when we go to bed every day with trauma? How do you think you're gonna wake up? Comment on TikTok. TikTok says it says it's American culture. We are obsessed. Absolutely. It's American culture. We are obsessed. That is so true. That is so true. They promote these type of things all over the media. Um, they promote it on the news. They uh put this fear that everybody is your op and everybody's against you. So now you have to walk around with the mindset that I'm preparing to harm somebody because if they come to me, I'm willing to go that same extent. So now instead of walking around with love and peace and care and concern and having empathy, we walk around with disdain, hurt, hurt people, want to inflict pain because I'm hurt. We walking around with if somebody try me, I wish somebody try me. I'm ready to prove that I'm like that today, willing to risk it all. Everything that you work for, everything that you do every day, we willing to jeopardize our whole existence over one moment of impulsiveness, not being thought-provoking individuals because we can't rise above the thought of somebody disrespecting us. It says we kind of because this desensitized to violence. It's so bad we expect school school pew pews. Yup, absolutely. We expect these things. We so desensitized, meaning that they show people lives as if it doesn't even matter. Meaning that when you when we see people, it's so common for us to see people laid out on the streets with no life in them that we get desensitized to it. We get so desensitized to it. So now when somebody is pretty much laid out on the street, we'll walk right over them or pull out the camera just to film. We don't say, how can I help him or her up? How can I call 911? How can I call for assistance? What can I do in the moment to help stop the bleeding? Maybe put a rag or stop the. We don't do that. We don't do that. And now we wondering why we don't have the same love and care, concern, and compassion for one another. It's a dog eat dog mindset, dog eat dog world. We desensitize. That's a powerful statement, loved one. That's a powerful statement. This is what makes me think about our premise and our purpose. We got to have some good moral conduct. We talked about um having some level of karma. See, karmatic energy, right? I was talking about this earlier during the week. Me and Lizzie was building, and I was asking about karma. Karma real? Karma fake? How do you feel about karma? How do you feel about simply making decisions? Do we understand cause and effect? Understand that if we commit an act, no matter what the act is, there's going to be a result. There's going to be a result. So our thoughts permeate, our thoughts that we put out there into the ethos, our actions that we take is going to cause a response. So whether we do or not do, we're actually conspiring for something to take place. Meaning that when we so desensitized and we see somebody out there that's in the need of help and we choose not to go out there and assist, we're committing an act. We're committing an act. And that's going to breed a result. You don't you decrease the chances of someone getting aid and assistance if you don't respond. If you don't respond, then we decreases the chances of you having an impact on somebody else's life in order to save their life. Desensitized. But what if we reverse those things? What if you were the one stretched out and laid out and you needed assistance? And other people, only thing they did was pull out their phones and film instead of calling 911. Or they say, you know what, that's him or her problem. It's not my business. I'm not getting involved. It don't matter to me. It ain't me or mine. What happens then? So now we can be those same individuals that walk past somebody that's in need. But if you were in those same shoes, understand that may happen to you as well. And what would you want if you were helpless and you needed some assistance and you had 99 people just walk past you in the streets unwilling to help? Desensitized. Desensitized. We breed a culture of that. That's why it's so important to understand and establish these things from within the home first. Caring for one another. Something as simple as, yo, when I eat, you eat. We can split this down the middle. We break bread with one another. Simple as that. Because now we go forward and say, you know what? I understand what it's like to help one another, to feed one another, to break bread with one another. But if everybody's hiding the cereal, the milk, I brought this, I brought that, I brought this, you brought that, and nobody have we don't have that sharing gene with one another, how you think we're gonna go out there in the real world and build anything? When we know that in order for us to build, it relies on trust. It relies on extending our hands, acts of servitude. It's also being able to receive assistance, meaning that we got to let down some of our guard and say, you know what, I do need assistance right here, and allow people in. But what happens when we don't even establish that within the home? You think we're gonna go out there and accomplish a collective mindset, a community mindset? I doubt it. I doubt it. It starts with you. And then the people that surround you, we all get on the same page. Or people like us do things like this. Well, what do people like you do? People like us care for one another. How do you care for one another? I'm willing to assist when necessary. I'm also willing to fall back in order to allow growth to take place. Meaning that I can't walk you to and from every day. There's one day that you got to go out there and walk that path. I heard this from David Banner. David Banner said in life, there are going to be some people that walk with you. And there are going to be some people that's on that journey with you that falls back and say, you know, I'm going back to the house. I can't walk this far with you, man. This is my limit. And then going to be some other people that's willing to walk a little bit further with you on your journey. Powerful. But ultimately, even those individuals may not be willing to walk the distance that you need to go in order to find self and find purpose. So what do you do when everybody's turning around while you're on your purpose? Do you stop as everybody else and go home? Or do you say, I'm going to continue to walk and create and continue to shape and mold and create my purpose? Because I know that me going on my journey with or without, I'm building something. And I'm going to eventually get there. Maybe the path that I'm on isn't for everybody else because they're not trying to go where I'm trying to go. But you have a moral obligation to do that for self. Because if you create in that path and you trailblaze in that path and you end up being successful in your own right, other people will be able to recognize that. And then now the people that you want to help, they see that as, I see that it worked. Because that person came from the same place that I came from, that same environment, that same walk of life. They look like me, they sound like me, they have the same type of aesthetics, they have the same interests, and they made it out. So now you give hope. And also, you gave a blueprint. Your testimony will be the blueprint. But sometimes you got to be willing to take that chance, even if it's by yourself. Because I know in order to help one another, you first got to help self. In order to help anybody else, you first have to help self. So now we got to check in with our depression. We got to go and do self audits. We got to see how we feel today. We got to take moments out to say, you know what? I need 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I need to meditate really quick. I need total silence. I need to do deep breathing exercises. Breathing is so, so important. I learned this from Dr. Ali Muhammad. And I'm about to really increase my studies about learning techniques of breathing, how we breathe. We energize ourselves even from that simple act alone. We don't know how important breathing is. We don't know how important breathing is. You know, there's something I learned even from the gym about breathing. I learned that when animals, when they run and they're exhausted, they pout. Similar to a heartbeat when they try to pump more blood into your heart to get you to start breathing again. That's the same act in order to bring in more. What is it? You bring in less oxygen and what is it? I don't know. Bring in more oxygen and what is it exactly? Don't quote me on it. Long story short, you breathe in more oxygen and you increase your oxygen and you decrease the carbon going out. If I'm not mistaken, I gotta don't quote me on it. But the panting, what I'm talking about is that you increase more circulation and more blood, and that allows you to breathe easier from that panting mechanism, from learning how to breathe. So there's different forms of breathing, different methods of breathing. So what I learned is me being on the treadmill when I'm in the gym and I'm super, super out of breath or I exerted and I ran, sprinted, whatever. I know that in order for me to get more air in my lungs and more oxygen, etc., the panting method is better than people than doing that doesn't work. You increase more oxygen, you get more oxygen in your lungs by the panting method. Powerful. So it's things like that when we learn about who we are, what we are, how we design, allow us to be the best version of ourselves. But we don't get a chance and opportunity if we don't sit down with self. If we don't start trying new things, we don't start opening up our eyes to new forms of ways of doing things because we get so accustomed to doing things a certain in a particular way that we think is correct. Shout out to Coach Lucky. Coach Lucky says, just because things are common, that doesn't mean that it's correct. Just because I'm accustomed to doing a thing a particular way, that doesn't necessarily mean that is the correct way of doing it. And this is some of the things that I had to unlearn along my journey because I thought I knew it all at one point in life, one point in time in my life. I thought I had all of the answers. Definitely when I was more financially astute at one point in time, as far as like um when I didn't have the value of money, when money was just a thing, right? Where it was just at my beck and call. I just felt like I could solve all my problems with money until the money went. And then I had to figure out life without the money. And I had to find value without the money. And I started to, okay, now money is very important. Money is important now. But what I'm saying is that um without it, at one point in time, I didn't know how to function because I thought I could solve all my problems with money until I started to find out there's some things that money can't buy and problems that money can't solve. Some of the relationships that we get ourselves into, sometimes money can't solve those relationships. No matter how much money you throw at each other, it won't solve the problem of love, happiness. Yeah, these are monetary things, things that are temporary, fixes, right? Put a band-aid over the bullet wound. That's not how we solve the bigger problem. And I understood, and I started to understand along my journey that no, it's a combination of things. Once you start to acquire the money, we can put money to better use. We can start doing other things in order to help one another. But it's not the end all be all. It's a necessity because this is what the world functions off of. So you got to get the coin. You got to be able to get the coin, invest the coin, save the coin, put the money in circulation continuously in order to make this thing go full circle. But there's other things that you got to build outside of the coin, like the relationships, like love for oneself and love for others, levels of empathy, being purpose driven, designing your purpose, being skillful, putting our skill sets to use, leverage our abilities. These are some of the things that money just can't, you know, ultimately solve because it takes the person from within in order to come out their shell and actually do application, start to apply. They have to come, you, he, she, them, etc. You have to figure out a way in order to offer the world the things that you were gifted with. And then if not, you would call that, wasted talent. How many times have we been told ourselves that we are wasted talent, or we seen people that wasted their talent, or we seen people with great talent, and we said, man, they could do better use with their talent. If seen that person a great ball player, this person is a great scholar, this person is a great mathematician. We say, man, this person need to be working at some banking, do something banking, because they understand these numbers. This person right here, we see him or her on stage singing and captivating the world with their voice. We see this person, he or she over there, that's very, very skillful at architecture. They should be over there doing something. They should be building something, right? They should be putting together these formats in order to build the biggest skyscrapers in the world. They should be doing things that's just unfathomable to us. Be like, we can't be dreaming that far, but ultimately we see that person possess the talent to do so. So it goes to waste when we see not people operating from their element, being in purpose. We see these things. I know there are times where I speak on the eye where I wasn't in purpose because I was so caught up with everybody else and what they were doing, and I was depressed along my journey. I, I solve all the problems. I got it. I'm hurting, pain inside. I find the money to fix it. I drown my pain within my vices. I go in there, I go to the gambling house. I'm gonna just blow the bag tonight. I'm emotionally distraught. So I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna risk it all tonight. Every dollar that I got in my pocket, I'm willing to risk it. I'm willing to go out there and shop till I drop. I'm willing to go in there and eat the ice cream with the apple pie every night until I'm just super overweight. I'm gonna just keep feeding, or I go the opposite direction. I just starve myself. I stay in a room, no sunlight, no vitamin D, stay in darkness because that's why I feel mentally I'm at. Mentally I'm in darkness, so I gotta embody that spirit all around. So that means I want to be isolated from everybody, not to be thought provoking, not to think and not to have a peace of mind and not to meditate and go to another place to enhance, to be able to go out there and be more purpose driven. I'm doing this to escape. I'm in total darkness because I'm looking for an escape. We going through traumatic things. I'm depressed. I'm functioning. Hey, I go every day, I'm smiling, I'm doing everything I need to do, but inside, I want to tell somebody some of my pain. I need therapy. I need somebody to walk me through some of these steps and these stages. But I can't find a way in order to have the courage enough to say, I'm hurting right now. It says, in the dark is where we find ourselves. Powerful, loved one. Brother Jay says, in the dark is where we find ourselves. We go inside the dark. We got to be able to find that light within the dark. We got to go we got to go we have to dwell in some of these places at times. But we got to go in these spaces, understanding that, hey, there's a purpose why I'm here. Now, what is the solution for me to get up out of this? I'm at the lowest of the lowest. I'm at the bottom of the bottom. What do I do now? What do I do now? And this is where we start to uprise. We start to tell ourselves, okay, although I'm here, what is the solution to this problem? You get real, real vulnerable. You get real, real vulnerable. And now you allow things to come to you. So you know what? It is what it is. You got to have a sense of, you know what, letting go. Because maybe our pride and that ego get in the way. What's up, Aunt? My loved one Aunt in the building. Maybe our pride and that ego get in the way. And now we got to let go of some of the things that we held as prized possessions because we built up an ideology from what we want people around us to think. Oh, they got everything together. Look at them over there. Ain't nothing wrong with them. It says, yes, ain't nothing wrong with them. He got it all. He or she got it all figured out. They got the money, they got the cars, they got the relationship. They don't know that all of these things you might be in financial woes. It look good, the bag look good. You driving around a sport car, not knowing that you're $200,000 in debt. Or the relationship, we huggy boo up kissing, and not knowing that you guys already rip each other heads off at the end of the night. Oh, they got that perfect job. Don't even know that you're on the brink of losing your job because you got written up 99 times. You ain't in compliance. You're not moving the business forward. So now we dealing with some of these things that, from the outside looking in, we unwilling to face in real time. So we hide behind them. We hide behind them. A lot of times we can hide ourselves so well that we just actually blend in. We blending in with the wall. We blending in the midst of people that's walking around in the world. We blending in with our families at the gatherings. We laughing, kikiing, not knowing that this person over here is dying, unaliving inside. They drowning themselves inside. Oh, the one too many. I had one too many tonight. Not understanding that your one too many started at 7 o'clock in the morning and didn't end until 12, 1 o'clock at night. One too many, you went from 1 to 10. And we said, man, now today's my day off, so I can indulge. But then now we sneaking around, we going on, you know, little breaks to go to the liquor store or go hit our, the loud, whatever we got to do, just to try to stay functional depression. But we blend in well with the masses. So long as we keep doing that, we never gonna seek the help that we need. It may be a simple conversation. It may be a conversation that need to be had with the person that is causing us some of this friction, or we need to be in spaces to where it's comfortable enough to where it's a safe space to where we could just be free and just speak our mind and operate from a pure place instead of putting up the front. Because a lot of times we walking around with the imposter syndrome, not even imposter syndrome, we being imposters themselves. We walking around and putting up this front as if, we're one way and inside we totally different. So we feeding the ego as the people come around us, we want to feed them the false narrative. No, he or she got it all together, not knowing that your life is in shambles. Your life is in shambles. So now we stuck. We have a comment. Brother Jay says a lot of people walking around with no purpose because they're not connected to something higher purpose. Powerful, brother. Powerful, my brother. One more time. Let me read that one more time. A lot of people walking around with no purpose because they're not connected to something higher. Mm, mm. Spiritual perspective. That's very key. What if we found ourselves to be the higher purpose? What if we found another deity, another entity, another, figure? Not idol worship, because we don't want to idol worship. But what if we connected, like my brother said, to something higher? How about we put ourselves in that same space as that higher person, that higher being, that higher entity, the higher spiritual, personnel? What if we put ourselves in that same space as worthy of and looked at yourself as a god or goddess? What if we operate from that perspective instead of a peasant mindset? What if we operated from a space of being someone that's enlightened? What if we connect to our spiritual guide and say, you know what, lead me down this path of where I need to go? What if you connect yourself to that source, whatever that source may be? that higher connection. I love that higher connection because if we're not connected to the most high, that means that we connected to the most low. If we're not connected to the most high, that means that we're connected to the most low. So now what do we do now? What do we do now? What do we do now? How are we going to uprise from the mental drainage of exhaustion, fatigue, um, unworthiness? How do we come out of that space? There's a combination of things that we can put together. We talked about this in another episode about putting together those winning combinations. Putting together those winning combinations for you. I started to figure out with myself. I had to put together a combination just to get my day right because I was waking up in some funk sometime. And I'm like, why do I feel a little funky today? So I gave myself a routine in the morning. I came up with the combo. Number one, prayer. Every day pray. Get connected to the most high. Every day, get connected to the most high. I increase my prayer. Then I said, you know what? Let me read a little something. Let me pick up some reading material, no matter what it is. Let me just get my brain functioning on the right path instead of just watching and scrolling through the metaverse. Let me pick up something that could just, incite my psyche for a positive, performance for the rest of my day. And then I started to go into the gym, started increasing the gym, and I started hitting some things that I thought I couldn't even, accomplish when it came to just being consistent in those spaces. And I started to see how my mindset increased for a more productive day every day. Of course, there are things occasionally that happen to where life be life, and we get through some of these situations, the best way that we can. But if you have your best foot forward and you create a certain routine of positive habits around you and connecting you more and more to the source, connecting you more and more to the most high, you start to operate from that perspective. You start to do things in your life that'll connect you on levels that you thought you could never be connected. Your frequency will kick up. Frequency of what we frequently see. Frequently is what you frequency is what you frequently see. So if we go into bed with the trauma and the drama every night, how you think we gonna wake up? We gonna wake up with the trauma and the drama. We going to bed with the trauma and the drama. We throwing on the unaliving shows, the promiscuous shows. We throwing on baddies club, people fighting left and right. So we going to war. We going to bed with war. We going to bed with war. We waking up in war. What it say? It says powerful message. Yeah, my brother Jay. I read the God comment. Absolutely. Powerful comment. You know what? Since we there, just do it again. My brother says a lot of people walking around with no purpose because they are not connected to something higher. How to read it again? How to read it again? Pam, what's up, loved one? Ellie, what's up, loved one? Admirable Spence, what's up, loved one? These are some of the things that we got to be really, really aware of because we don't understand that everything that we do is connecting us to something, and we set in a frequency. So now when we get around spaces, we get around people, we get around environments, it does something to how we move and navigate around this world. People like us do things like this. So it's no coincidence when they say the birds of a feather flock together. When you see five individuals that's out there doing idiotic stuff, and you amongst the bunch, you'll be the sixth. I used to hear these terminologies when I was a young kid, and my moms and my guardians used to tell me all the time, "Yo, bro, you hanging out with this, you doing that, you go. It's only a matter of time before you're doing the same as that." It's not me. I ain't throwing the rocks at the cars. Before you know it, boom, breaking the window. Who did it? Johnny. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've done that. Snowballs, putting rocks in the snow, doing all types of idiotic stuff. Of course, we call it being a kid, but I was just experiencing things that I wasn't supposed to be doing. I was operating from the difference is I was doing those type of things, and then nowadays I see certain kids that's on the corner selling lemonade. If I to rewind it back, people say they never want to change things of what they've done because it give a lot of life lessons, and I agree. But I'm saying if I had a choice and I only had two choices of throwing rocks at cars and selling lemonade on the corner. I will much rather sell lemonade on the corner. I will much rather sell lemonade on the corner because now I'm building up alliances, building up skill set, building up money management, building up how to connect with customers, how to connect with people. I'm finding levels of empathy. I'm learning sales. I'm learning more about me, being able to apply myself, levels of courage. I'm doing all these things that's make me uncomfortable to come out my shell just to be more purpose driven. How much purpose is me throwing rocks at cars? Where is that going to end me up? If we were to think, if I kept throwing rocks at cars for years on out, where do you think I end up? Hypothetically, not a good place, right? But if I were to sell lemonade on the corner over time, where would that end up? That's the difference. Pan says this is a good one though. Tuned in at the right moment. Absolutely, love one. What TikTok says? TikTok says it says it says people, places, things are major with changing directions. Absolutely, P. People, places, and things are major with changing directions. I was talking to my nephew earlier, right? And I learned this from Seth Godin. He was giving a speech on I think it was a TED talk, whatever. And he said something about pilots, right? When we have our destination, right? We have a destination. We want to go to places. And in order to fly, I think from New York, any place that you're trying to go to, traveling, this is what pilots do. When they on a plane and they're flying from New York, say to California, if that plane is off course, I think 1 degree or something like that, it would end up missing California in totality, and it would take them hours, of course, hours, of course. A normal flight that may take you 3 hours or some 2, 3 hours or something like that, whatever, 3 hours, whatever. It would take you hours, of course. So what does that mean? It means that the smallest things that we take for granted, the smallest things can derail us from who we are, our mission, and our purpose. Meaning that if we like to indulge, if we like to do things that negate our purpose, it would take us off course hours, days, maybe even years of where we trying to end up. That one simple concept, that flight being off 1 degree, take them hours off course of where they end up, where their destination is desired to be. But imagine if you were off course, not 1 degree, what you were 10 degrees, 20 degrees, 30 degrees, 50 degrees. If you just 50-50 every day, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Imagine where your life would end up at. Just being off course that much all the time. We'd be far away from where we're trying to end up at. And these are the things where I want to highlight because they're small principles, but they're life principles. And it makes you aware of, you know what? Should I eat the cookie or should I get some salad? Let me just try to choose the salad 9 times out of 10, more than that. 50-50 is better than, 80-20 of picking the cookie or the donut over the salad. But let's start to decrease that. Let's start to decrease our degrees, of course. So instead of being 80 degrees, of course, let's drop it down to 50. And after 50, drop it down to 30. You drop it down to 20. Drop it down to 10. Let's be 1%, of course. Meaning that every day you have an obligation to be in purpose. A comment, another comment on TikTok. So look, that TikTok be boom. It says, that's why guidance is so important as a child. I was that same type of thrill-seeking kid. Let me read that one more time. Let me read that one more time for my brother on TikTok. It says, that's why guidance is so important as a child. I was that same type of thrill-seeking kid. Powerful, family. And you know what? You know the beauty of understanding who you were and who you are now. The guidance is what we're talking about. What if you were that same thrill-seeking child and you just was guided right. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Let me say that one more time. What if you were that same thrill seeking child, but you were guided right? And that this is not diminishing um what the loved ones around you have done or have not done, because I know that everybody around you done their best. So we're not putting onus on what they did or what they didn't do. What I'm saying is that if you had all of the faculties and the stars that align to put your thrill seekingness to more use and leverage your skill set and who you were, imagine the more wonderful things that you could have done. Because I know I was the same type of child. I know now I'm more course corrected. I had all of the guidance around me. I had great parents, great loved ones, great people around me that guided me in the right places. But there was choices that I was making because of who I was around, the things I was doing, the things I found myself just being involved in, throwing rocks at cars. You know, I did a lot of things that I'm not gonna say on here because not for um not trying to run from these things that I've done as a child. I'm just saying that there were decisions that I made as a child that led me down some of these paths that I'm aware of now. And I know that if we had the right guidance and we taught having levels of agency, meaning that we're able to make decisions on our own at early ages, we won't be so influenced what other people do. If we had agency, we have a comment
Yeah, me too.
on
Take your
tube
time.
on the tube. We going to the tube. The tube says, "Afternoon, brother. Big love." Oh yeah, afternoon, my yeah. We in the building. It says jumped on to say, keep killing it, big sir. Absolutely, family. Big love on the come on, man. Big love on the two loved ones. The two top. Come on, man. I'm super blessed and super appreciative. I think that um we as a collective make these things go because it's your thoughts, it's your perspectives, it's your ideas that allow us to have the dialogue. Because I was just talking to self, I only could think, but what on the past that I think of. So now when we have the open dialogue, it allows us to get more understanding of who we are, where we were, and some of the things that we can figure out together. And that's the key. The premise of us having this platform is not my platform, it's our platform, right? This is just a vehicle for us to occupy, just to communicate with one another, a better form of communication to where we all can come together and bridge that gap. So that's all this is, right? But the forum allow us to have the dialogue, and I think that's most key because these some of the conversations I wish I had at various times in my life. Somebody to tell me, "Yo, pull you by the collar, what's up, my boy? Get your act together. You doing the wrong things. I may be the leader of the pack. It wasn't just the people that I was around. Sometimes I was leading the pack doing the wrong things. So I'm not blaming nobody that I was around, family, friends, whoever. Agency, meaning that shout, what's up, loved one? Peace, God. Um, having the mindset of my own, being able to figure those things out, to say, I need to make a decision myself without the influence of other people. And then once I get over that stage of having agency, now I'll start applying prudence. Let's learn from what we, have done. Let's learn from what we haven't done. That's where the wisdom starts to kick in at. And these are the things that we start to learn along our journey about. You know what? Today I'm not feeling good. Why am I not feeling good today? You know what? I'm feeling some thoughts that may, be feel suicidal, or I feel like inflicting pain on somebody or myself. Where's this coming from? Who I need to talk to? I need somebody to hear me out. I'm crying inside today. Today I'm just having a bad day. Maybe it's the time of the year because around this time of the year I get a little bit depressed because there's some people that I want to be connected to that I'm not connected to, or maybe there was something that happened traumatic around this time of the year, and I haven't seek the guidance to get over that as of yet. I haven't seek the therapy. I haven't talked to the right people. I haven't healed from within. So now it becomes a burden and it becomes a cry out for help, and nobody hears my cry. So now I'm off in the shadows, or I'm just blending in, or I'm being functional. I'm a functional depressed individual. So now I'm going through the motions, and now everything feels normal from the outside looking in. Oh, he got it together. She got it together. Not knowing that, crying inside.
You got a comment on TikTok.
On top, family. I'm very proud of you. Keep up the good work. Absolutely, loved one. Proud of you more.
You have more.
Proud of you. Proud of you more, loved one. Says on the top. Go down. It says, "What's the difference between stress and depression?" The difference between stress and depression. Um, I think when it comes to stress, so I learned something new the other day, from Dr. Ali Muhammad, right? And he was talking about stress, right? He brought into a realm of stress creating electrical circuits within the brain. It's like like similar to like electrocution, right? Now, I'm not super qualified to expound on it because I don't know enough about that concept. But if I were to take that same mindset of just saying verbatim for how I feel initially about stress, depression, I feel like stress is really like mental fatigue. Mental fatigue. I think that stress becomes overwhelming. I think I acquire stress when I don't know how to direct the energy in the right places. So what I do is I feel like it's bottled up energy that I don't have an outlet to release it. That's how I feel about stress. I feel like there's a bunch of energy that's stored up and I can't get that energy out. So the brain becomes overload. And now the stress just makes me want to be super erratic, drained. I feel like I get impulsive. I think it changes the mood. I think it's a combination of all those things when I have stress. When I feel like I'm depressed, I feel like there there are issues that are unresolved. So when if I were to make a difference between stress, I think stress will be for me a overload. I think stress would be my brain my brain is on overload. I think when I think about depression, I'm thinking about um worthiness. I think worth. I think finding value. I think emptiness. So I think one, if I were to say stress, stress would be overload too much, and then depression for me would be emptiness. If I were to draw a connection between the two, my brother Shah says it's a weight exactly that makes you stand offish, but you broke inside. Absolutely, family. Absolutely, family. Footable car rentals, sub love one, back in the building. That's what that if I were to distinguish the two, and
Yes, I never thought of it in that way. I appreciate the perspective.
absolutely, family, powerful loved one. I appreciate you more because now you pushing me to think in unconventional ways. Because a lot of times we regurgitate, and this is about having, like I was talking about the agency thing, being able to be a free thinker. There's no right or wrong. It's the code you put together that works for you. And this is what I promote every day of being able to have autonomy over oneself, being able to think in ways that people say, stop thinking like that. Don't you think of being prosperous? Don't you think of being a better version than you were yesterday? You came from that environment, a doggy dog environment. You need to stay there. Comment on a tool. It says stress. Oh yeah. Oh, my cousin or my brother put the comment up. This is stress. Stress. Any sort of pressure that one feels mentally, physically, spiritually, morally, or financially becomes stress. Powerful, 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 powerful. Depression is when a mental state where one completely gives up. It's a defeated attitude towards life. Powerful, 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 loved one. Man, oh man, we on to something. We on to something. Let me read that one more time. Oh my God. Stress, any sort of pressure that one feels mentally, physically, spiritually, morally, or financially becomes stress. Depression is when a mental state where one completely gives up. It's a defeated attitude towards life. Man, I tell you, man, if y'all don't listen, whew, man, I tell you, these perspectives are giving more insight and making things more apparent for I know for me it bringing a lot of mental clarity because some of these things I go through the motions of. I know speaking on the eye. And I know as a collective, we all have experienced some of these things at various times in our lives. I know that um we get to these places to where we know a thing. We think we know a thing. And Coach Lucky talk about this all the time too, just having connotative and denotative languages, meaning that there's certain things that we associate with because it's how we all come to understand it. So we may say, yo, it's brick inside. We know that we're not literally talking about a brick, meaning that the brick is a way of explaining that we are cold, right? The denotative language will say, hey, I am cold directly. And what I'm saying is that a lot of times if we don't have these levels of understanding, we just come to the understanding of what we think things are. But having an etymology of things, but understanding where things come from, I think it gives us a better insight on our perspectives. We can put our perspectives in proper context and we can utilize it to our strengths more than not. So I think it's very, very important when we're going through a journey. Take this off. I think it's very important. Take this off as well. All these pop-ups on the top. I don't know. So these pop-ups. Don't understand it. But drag the. Oh, that's what it says. Okay, unable to drag. Come on. Sorry, loved ones. You got me doing this drag piece of a puzzle on TikTok. Okay, then we still live. We still rocking. I bet. We in there. They want to make sure that there it wasn't a bot just controlling everything on there. But I think it give us more insight, just knowing who we are, where we are, and where we going, when we be able to put the pieces together. Be able to identify who we are, what we are, and how we want to get to where we need to get to. And I think that all of the tools around us are necessary. I think people testimonies are necessary. I think your life experience is necessary. I think the things we come across, I think the difficulties, I think the troubling times, I think the best of times, all of these things can be utilized as our data to give us the most leverage in life. And a lot of times we can put these things together in sequence to allow us to work from our best and greater good. We can work from a place of being really, really effective for who we are, where we are, if we able to utilize these things as tools. Because every experience is a tool. Every experience is a tool. Every shortcoming is a tool. Every victory is a tool. Because now we can repeat these processes in some form of fashion to know that the probability of us getting to this place, if I do this, then this will happen. If I go to the gym, I would get my weight up. I would decrease in the belly fat. I would do all these things. If I'd be able to have the discipline with my food, I'd be able to cut down on this. If I'd be able to save my money, I'd be able to invest in that. All of these things go hand in hand, causes and effects. Causes and effects. Bree, what's up, loved one? Bree in the building. What's up, sis? Unlimited love. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, sis. Yeah, all of these things count. And I don't want to never dismiss like your journey because a lot of us go through things in life and and people would, point fingers at some of these things and say that you're not worthy of. And they wanna, blame us for people like to point blame in the direction because it gives them the sensibility to feel like they don't have to change their own circumstances. So they want to generalize things that whether they common or uncommon, people want to make it a known thing about where you fell short in your life to remind you. So now if things don't work out the way they need to work out for those individuals, they can fall back on those same excuses. And since they be like, oh, well, yeah, I didn't do that, but you didn't do this. Oh, yeah. Although I didn't do this, but you ain't do that. So you start playing the blame game. So people love to highlight where you fell short at in your life because it gives them, in their mind, the leverage over you. Yeah, although I got such and such right in my life, you didn't do this right. On the top, it says on the top, it says recent unlimited love, Bree. It says I feel like some of us know what we have. Some of us know what we have to do, but we either procrastinate or don't do it at all. Absolutely, procrastination. Ooh-wee. Procrastination come from idle time, the downtime, and we'll find ourselves doing things uncan- uncannily, uncannily, uncanny, uncan that way. Yeah. Right. We find ourselves doing things in an uncanny way, right? Um and we'll take our time and we misuse it. And let me show you. Here it is. Put this back. So I got some of these wealth commandments that I keep just for self, right? As reminders, right? Let me share this. So I keep this. I don't know if you see it right here. You see it over here. I got these wealth commandments. And one of the things that I have actually is my first wealth commandment, right? Just makes sure that I be prosperous and my future endeavors in life. My first wealth commandment is time is infinitely more valuable than money. Time is infinitely more valuable than money. So a lot of times we misuse our time because we think that we have all the time in the world. And we don't understand that we start to get older, time start to bypass us, and then we'll start to go back and say, well, where did the time go? How do people maximize their time? You all got 24 hours in the day. When we talk about the money, people put money in place to, you know, allow them to work for themselves, such as, okay, I don't want to have to take 2 hours out of my day to do laundry. So I go pay somebody else to do my laundry. You buy back two hours of your day. So some people say, well, I don't have the finances to do that. It's understood. But what I'm saying is that if we have certain tools around us, maybe it could be a loved one, it could be a family member, you can find a younger child to say, you know what, I don't got X amount of dollars to pay you to do my laundry. I give you X amount of coin to go and take care of. Instead of paying, the person at the shop $40, maybe you can get away with 20. Somebody doing your laundry. Or you can say, you know what, I could, I don't have to go to the laundromat as much. So that may require you to buy more clothes or wear some of the same thing twice. Savages. I ain't gonna say that no savages. But I'm just saying in general, like we can find other ways to put other tools to use. So what I'm saying is that the time is more valuable than a dollar. And a lot of times we think that the money could solve all of the problems. It could help solve a time problem, but the time is more valuable than the money because you don't get time back. So as we learn and as we grow and as we get older, we start to figure out, okay, well, what should I be doing with my time? So once you start knowing that the time is start to be limited, then you start to value your time a little bit more, or you learn to say, you know what, I know I could be twiddling my thumbs right now because I do it occasionally. I get on the social media, and before you know it, I look up. I thought I was on there for 5 minutes. It's been a half an hour, and I'm like, a half an hour I lost. What could have I done with that half an hour? I could have went to the gym for 30 minutes, cardio for 30 minutes, or whatever. I could have been reading something for 30 minutes. So I'm just saying that what helps me prioritize more, keeping it 1,000, is that I write a list of things out, and it simply starts with my day, putting together those winning combinations, those winning codes, starting my day off at least with some of the things that I know I want to get out every day, no matter what, which is get my praying, get more, like my brother Jay said, get closely connected with that higher power, the higher source, which is with me, because I look at myself as a God, so I connect with me, right? I put some reading material in front of me because I know that me learning every day is priority. Me learning every day is priority because I thought I knew it all at one time, and I figured out the more that I thought I knew, the more I want to start to figure out I don't know because there's so much information out there. The reason why I don't have $1 million because there's $1 million of information that I don't know. That's why I don't got the M yet. The reason why I don't got the M yet is because there's $1 million worth of information that I don't understand or I don't know yet. So I think I need to occupy my time of learning the millionaire mindset, how to acquire the M. What do I do with my money? I think I need to spend more time if I want the M to start learning and studying more along those lines. So the time could be utilized depending on where we want to direct our energy at. I'd rather be more directionally right, even if I'm off course 10 degrees. I'd rather, still be course corrected. I'd rather be more on course than not. I'd rather not stay still and be idle. Start with intention first. Absolutely. Intentionally, being intentional about your thoughts and, or what you want to do. Be intentional. You know, why I'm gonna do this on purpose. Now, I don't want this to be a mistake. I don't want this to happen by accident. I'm going to do this on purpose. And I think what Jay said, that's powerful. Doing something on purpose, being intentional. That's a great way in order to not allow ourselves to be caught up with the time wasted, the procrastination. I think that's where our time gets sucked up out of us. You know, it goes away, or we give our time to the wrong things, the people, places, and things. Like P said, we give our time to the wrong things, people, places, and things. So it could be the vice, it could be the television, it could be a host of individuals that just just holding your conversation up with I mean holding you up with conversations and things that don't move the needle forward. That's more productive for you or each other, or collectively coming up with ideas on how to change trajectory on where you want to be at. So I think some of those things are still our time. I think a lot of those things are thieves with our time. People, places, and things play a huge role. Huge role. Absolutely. Then you let the energy carry you into action. I like that, Jay. I like that, Jay. Then you let the energy carry you into action. It's powerful. I like that.
Recommend send you a gift.
I appreciate the gifts. Your boy feel flooded. Ooh, the boy getting gifts. Christmas came early. Christmas came early. Your boy getting gifts. Christmas came early on TikTok. Shout out to everybody on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, on Instagram. I appreciate everybody. LeVar, what's up, cousin? What's up, cousin? Yeah, be in the building. Powerful. I appreciate everybody really tapping into that. It means a lot to me. Super appreciative. You taught me so many things about me and how I should look at life. You give me so much more insight. Um, just the factor about stress and depression alone, it put me in a space of really thinking, you know, and I commend um those perspectives. I commend the help and the aid of planting those seeds, in my mind, and for us as a collective, in order for us to think of things in ways that we normally may not think of them, you know, because sometimes we get so complacent and content from what we do as routine, and we get so accustomed to common things, right? And we know that common doesn't mean that it's correct. Just because we're accustomed to doing things a particular way, that doesn't mean that it's correct. So we always got to constantly go out there and test our theories and our belief system and our psychology around things. We always got to test those theories, making sure that we stand on truth, making sure that what's up, Lauren? Making sure that we stand on truth, making sure that we going out there and testing our belief system, because we always gonna get challenged. But the only way that we know we stand the test of time is if our principles and our morals stand up the test of time. And those are the things that I think we carry out through the rest of our life, having some moral conduct, having a moral compass. That's your moral compass. Making sure that you have levels of empathy and doing the right thing by your rules and your standards, and how you want to bring people into your world. If you want to be a person of high esteem, then you got to be able to treat people as such. Because if you're a person that's just a bah humbug, right, and you just pissed off at everybody, you think you go bring people into your life and your world that are happy to see you? Nah, birds of a feather flock together, meaning that you guys gonna be connected at the hip with disdain and dislike. Y'all gonna be connected by the hip with disdain and dislike. So y'all gonna be at odds. Your world gonna be surrounded around people of negativity, and that's what you don't want. So if you don't want that, then you got to be able to exert the energy in the right place and let that carry out. Let that carry out. Powerful, man. I'm super appreciative, super blessed. And if there's anything that anybody would say, more than welcome. But ultimately, I just want to say I'm really appreciative. And as we get closer to coming up almost about another year down, just connect with you. And if you have the mental faculty to go out there and connect with other people on other levels, do that as well. Starts with you though. So make sure that you connect with you on those levels. Make sure that you love yourself and then it enable you. It will enable you to go out there and love on other people and have those levels of empathy. So we start changing in those areas, people, places, and things, and start, you know, being more directionally right, or just putting yourself in the spaces to where you want to see growth at. It's going to happen. It's going to compound over time. It starts with one seed planted. And then over time, we keep doing the thing, keep doing the thing, keep doing the thing. And it seems like, this ain't working. It seems like it's getting boring, or it seems like repetitive, and I don't see the results. Understand, there's a tree. I forgot the name of the tree, and I say this all the time, but there's a tree that seed gets planted, and the tree and the seed doesn't grow, I think, for like 5 years. And after the fifth year, it sprouts up to however many feet, etc. But I think for like the first 5 years of this tree, of this seed that's planted, um, it seems like there's no sign of life. But understand that when you don't see that tree erected as of yet, understand that it's building the roots underground. And that's what happens when the seed get planted within you. Your roots are being planted. Your roots are being sprouted out. So although it didn't show in the materialistic things, it didn't show in the materialistic world, but in the intrinsic world, in the internal valued world, that's showing up because you're growing from within. And that's the growth that most people don't see until one day you pop up and be like, oh, Chinese bamboo, that's the tree. The Chinese bamboo. Glad. Thank you, man. Come on, man. Got a mean team over here. You heard? Shout out to Lizzie. You heard? Got a mean team over here. We on the boards. The Chinese bamboo. That tree gets planted, right? The seed get planted. You don't see that from until like 5 years or something like that. So that shows us that with us, we got to give ourselves some time. We have to be patient with ourselves. We got to be disciplined with ourselves. We got to be consistent with ourselves. We got to value our time. We got to make sure that we respect one another, respect ourselves, do self audits, look yourself in the mirror, build that confidence up, put yourself in unfamiliar territory, challenge yourself. Laura Boyd, I said this, I'm gonna take us out on this last one. Laura Boyd, I was watching her, and she said that the way the brain strengthens and the way we get stronger mentally is by putting ourselves in challenging positions. That's where the most growth with the brain happens, is when we doing challenging things. So what that means is that every day, if we seek something challenging, and although you may feel like, hey, I'm not qualified, I'm not able to do, but let me go and have the application and apply. You're going to gain so much mental strength from that one act than doing things that you already could do simultaneously or with your eyes closed. So if you can do layups every day, and you could do 1,000 layups in a row, that's a great thing. But you never shot beyond the arc. The moment you take the shot beyond the arc, it's almost equivalent as doing 1,000 layups. So shoot beyond the arc, build up the mental strength, challenge oneself, and you're going to start to see things in your life flourish. Ultimately, it may not show in a materialistic world as of yet, but in the intrinsic world, oh, you are growing. You are growing so fast, man. People are like, well, how did he or she get there? Don't know that you've been doing the work. So keep showing up for yourself. Keep showing up for you. Keep challenging yourself. No matter what people may think about you, it's ultimately what you think about self. Have that agency, have that level of prudence, become wise, use your testimony, use everything around you as leverage. No matter how small or how big, you can put those winning combinations together for you. And then now you start looking at things like, oh, you know what? I could do that. I could do that. Man, I keep saying I'm gonna get up out of here, but I watch my nieces and nephews, and I love how they have a mindset that they can feel they could do anything. You bringing in groceries in the house, and they trying to grab the milk in the bag bigger than them, and they dragging it in the house. We have to have confidence, childlike confidence, because there's nothing on the planet that could deter them from feeling that he can't be accomplished, that he can't do anything. So childlike curiosity. Have that curiosity like a child, and just feel like, you know what, I'm curious about this. I'm curious about this. I'm curious about this. And going out there and applying, man, you'll be amazed. Man, once again, it's been a wonderful, wonderful 36 episode the Respectfully Great podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. It matters. Get them thumbs up. Thumb up the video too. That's a beautiful thing. If you haven't thumbed up, if you can, if you have the time, shoot over to YouTube on our page. Thumb up them videos because it increases the algorithm. And I don't say it as often, but they say closed mouths don't get fed. So if I don't say these things, it be fall on deaf ears. So I appreciate everybody once again for tapping in. I love all of you guys. I commend you for taking your time out because I know time is more valuable than money, and you guys are willing to sit down with the God for an hour. Talk to me.
If they go on YouTube, and an easier way to find you, they
Yeah.
could put Johnny Reed, two E's, D, and then respectfully great, and your face. You're the first one that pops up.
Is it Johnny Reed? Separate word, obviously, right?
Yes, so
Johnny
it's
Reed,
Johnny
respectfully
Reed,
great.
separate, and then space, respectfully great, and
Respectfully
you pop up.
is respectfully great one word or two words?
One word,
All right.
and you
So if we
pop
go
up.
on easy way to find on the YouTube, we put Johnny Reed, two separate words, and put respectfully great as one word in the search bar, and you'll be able to find the God. Right. Um, thank you again. I love everybody. Love yourself more, and continue to go out there and be purpose driven. And go out there and do your thing, man. Don't let nobody deter you from being the best version of yourself. Respectfully. Wow. Yeah, I know it's on TikTok, but I had to close out the video on YouTube. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you for the intrinsic value, comments, perspectives, ideas. You guys really made this conversation, go in the direction that I only could imagine, and it brought us to a place to where um, we got some dope dialogue, man. We got some great perspectives, and I appreciate you guys continuously. So, the number one gifter, this is Donkey Nelly, man. I appreciate that loved one with your really your thought, your innovative perspectives. Jay, P, everybody that came on today, man. Bree with the big gift, legendary. Come on, man. Number unlimited love. You know I love you guys unconditionally. Shout out to TikTok Nation out there getting busy. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, StreamYard. Get tapped in. Until next time, I'll see you soon. Respectfully. Now I don't know how to close out, but yeah. Pause. Um, pause live.
Let's just pause.
Pause it. Okay.
That way you can see how you back out,
Yeah.
but you don't have to show the faces when you back out. So, oh, is this to end it? No. So you have.
Hold on 1 second. I didn't end the live stream.
So this the